Hello, friends. This is our first session of Minnow University with our esteemed Steemit user. And forgive me if I mispronounce this, but is it Goya?
No, Go. It's Goa, but Gobba's fine. Everyone says Gobba.
Excellent. So he will correct me each time because even though I am the pink professor, I am here as the student to be taught by him. I do have his Steemit profile open up, and so you can find him on there on Steemit at goa.handcrafts or at goa.handcrafts, and you can check him out there. And recently he's done an interesting series called How to Be a Reasonable or Responsible Steemian. So talk to me about your thought process while writing this.
So with so many new people coming in, there's a lot of contention as to why people do it and what they're doing. So I just wanted to give a bit of a tips guide as to how to be decent, and there's also a second one as how to be an arsehole.
Yes, I did notice that. And a lot of the topics that you
And
bring
sorry,
up.
I swear a lot, so deal with it.
Awesome. I'm sure you will do your best to not kill my ears with all the cuss words, but I will forgive you because I know it slips. But on this first profile that I'm skimming through on here, you give us a couple of tips on how to be a responsible citizen on Steemit. And the first one that you have on here is be social, which you would think is very common sense to do on a blogging site, that if you want people to read what you have to say, you have to spend some time reading what they have to say. But another important thing that you bring on here is convert duplicate content into original content. And I love that. I don't think people realize that you can't just copy and paste from articles that you read online, because we could just search and read those as well. You have to put your own perspective, your own spin on things to make them worthwhile.
And that's right. Like you can paraphrase and reference back to original duplicate content, but let people know that you're doing it. Like there's a lot of good stuff out there that a lot smarter people than you and I have written, and to refer back to that is a good idea. But let people know that you're actually referring back and don't just claim it's your own.
And I think that's two very important things. Original content just mean that what is your original thought when writing this. So even though the idea behind it has been explained by someone else, like you found it on a website, you read it in an article, but what about it that made you want to share it on this platform? Are you, disagreeing with it? Are you agreeing with it? Did you have an experience that mirrors it so you think it's impactful in one shape or the other? And I just highlighted something you said on here. It says, do not expect people to come and find you. You need to get out there and be seen. So make yourself known when you're on Steemit. Leave a comment or two, read it, follow other people, engage with them beyond nice post, good read. They put a lot of thought and time into their post. So put some time and thought into your comments as well. And which kind of goes...
That's right.
Yeah.
The comment has to be related back to the post. Just to say it's a good post, fine, but why is it a good post? Why do you agree? And why do you disagree? It's fine if you don't agree with a post, but let people know why, and don't be a prick about it, but just put your thoughts there. It's a social site. People think social media is Facebook. Facebook isn't social. It's full of rubbish that people don't actually do anything with. This is a place where you can fully be social and have a decent conversation.
Absolutely. And that kind of leads into your second source, which you already talked about. Engage with the community, create original content, and by sharing what your original thoughts and passions are on the platform. And then your third one is don't beg. It's not cool, which I love. And what I love the most is you find a lot of really cool pictures to put on here. And at the bottom of each one, there's something highlighted in the source. Which is extremely important. We'll talk a little bit about that on your other post as well. But it's extremely important that if you borrow free content or free pictures from other sites, that you list where your sources are, because upvoting is a real thing, and as well it is downvote. But why don't you talk to us a little bit about not begging for those upvotes?
So if you look through some of the bigger dolphins and whales wallet account, seeing as everything's so social, you'll see hundreds and hundreds of memos, 1 cent memos that say, please look at my website, please look at this, please vote for that. If you're one of these people, would you vote for it? Would you look at it? Would you just completely ignore it? There's a difference between commenting on someone's post and saying, hey mate, I did a very similar article, would you mind having a look? Or just plain out begging. People don't really want to see that. And I won't read it if you ask me. People don't ask me, but still I won't read it if they did.
You make an excellent point. I had one person once leave an interesting comment, like, I couldn't agree more. I disagree with this. I actually wrote a similar article called this, and they put the link within the name. But they didn't say on there, go check it out, do anything like that. They just said, I wrote a similar topic. I wrote similar content on a different topic, whatever. And I was actually curious to go check it out, but they didn't ask me for it. They just mentioned it. And how you ask for these things is what makes a difference. And everyone can tell.
That's part of being social.
Absolutely.
They're not asking you to do it. They're just saying, hey, this is here. That's it. That's up to you to go and check it then.
But the whole upvote for upvote, follow for follow does no one any favors. And you might actually bear some consequences to that by getting some downvotes, which isn't ideal for anyone. So I really like how that was short. And I like how you mentioned dolphins and whales, because ultimately those are where the big votes come from. But even as you start to build a following, if you don't engage with the community, no one's going to want to read your stuff if you're just constantly begging, because you're not really adding any real new information or value to it. For why should they, if all you're asking is give me, give me, give me, but you're not willing to give anything.
And that's right. That's why I mentioned there, build your own dolphin and whales. Like the MinnowSupport program, we all start off as minnows, but as we all grow, it's been a few months now, people are starting to move into dolphins. There's some that will be moving into whales, and you've already built those relationships there. So you've already got your dolphin and whale votes that you don't have to go and beg for. You've earned.
Absolutely. And there's nothing more rewarding to not only earn those votes, but to consistently have them. And I think that's where the true thing, if you can consistently engage and write what you're passionate about, write what you love, and comment on other people, engage with them, and have real conversations, you'll see the real benefit of that. And so the last and my favorite point that you have is be gracious. And the image that you have with this one is real simple. Be pretty if you can, be witty if you must, but be gracious if it kills you. I love it.
Exactly. It's a matter of just saying thank you. Like if people actually take the time to comment on your post, so long as it's a decent comment, just say thanks or give them an upvote, something like that. I had a post months back where a bunch of whales and decent dolphins voted on my post. I didn't know how to actually say thank you, so I asked OzBitBank what's the best way. If I was to send a memo, would they frown on it or would they appreciate it? And he actually said they would really appreciate it. They may not reply to it, but it will be seen and they will appreciate it.
And there's no one right way to do it. That's an opinion of someone that I hold to a very high standard as well. So if he told me that, I would believe it. And that's not something that I think would actually make sense, because I think if you send a memo about, saying thank you or begging for upvotes, it's two different kinds of messages. So sending a memo saying thank you, I think, goes a long way. It's kind of like sending a personal note. But I think taking it a step further is reading their content and leaving a thoughtful comment on one of their posts, while also thanking them for showing support on yours, I think is another great idea too. So there's not one right or wrong way to do it. There's many ways to do that. And so that's one way to be a responsible Steemit user. So I love that post. I will be adding it along with this video when I make the post recap for it. But he did make a second portion of this series called How to Be an A-Hole on Steemit. Do I have this right? Is this your second one that you have on here? Or am I skipping?
Yep, no, that's right. That's right.
Excellent. And so I love it that he has a name tag on there and it says, hello, my name is A-Hole. And I don't think people realize it, but you can quickly be called that if you are not careful with certain things that you do. And so reverse psychology is a real thing, and that's the approach he took on this. And hopefully many people will listen and do the exact opposite.
Exactly. And it is full of sarcasm. Please don't take it literally.
And I think it's hilarious. I love it. And so your tip number one is comment on every post with a link to your post, which we already talked about is probably one of the most annoying things. When you think of that, with that tip, does any particular comment come to mind of something recent that someone left on your post?
Not recently, but I get a lot of them from certain countries where it's just, thanks, please check out my website. And I don't care. I'll downvote it or I will just get rid of it.
Yeah, recently I've had one that says, I really connected with your post. I hope you support me like I support you. And I checked and they didn't even upvote my post. And my post was about a show announcement and nothing else. And so I was like, what did you connect with? Are you even going to be listening?
Yeah, when they're not, when they don't even, when nothing makes sense, when it's all just gibberish, you can almost see that it's a bot comment, and I love those some of the times. They're creative, but they're horrible.
Yeah, they really, really are. All right, and then the second one you have on here is send me 0.001 SBD memo telling me about your massive following and upvoting guide, which I have
Yeah,
seen
so
more and more of.
these pop up all the time, and I got in a fair bit of trouble a few months back. But I tried out one of them. Don't try them out; they're scams. And I got downvoted big time by a witness.
Oh,
So
wow.
if you see it and it looks promising, do a little bit of research. Go into Steam and see what they actually do. See if they actually have the following, or if they actually do the votes. Some of them are real. Like my defense to that witness was, who would have known that half these names are actually real? Like Randawale and Belly Rub. All these things sound like complete crap, but they're real. So who was I to know that this other one wasn't real? So it's just a matter of doing a bit of research and seeing if it was worth your time and effort.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen them more and more, and I didn't think that I would get one. And then I got my first couple ones a couple of days ago. And then it's almost like I keep getting them at least once or twice every other day. And it's really such a shame that people would lead to that. And if you decide to try it out thinking with good intentions, like, hey, this will help me, this will help them, and for someone else to come around and downvoting without even warning you or putting a post out there like, hey, don't do these things, it really sucks for you because you had no idea. And now you're not only did that sending that SBD not help your post, but now you're feeling the consequences of a whale downvoting as well for taking actions that you didn't know better about. So really be careful.
Exactly, it was a real dick move, but it was right at the time when people were getting hacked, and I can understand where it comes from. But he could have handled it a lot better. And in the long run, they did remove that downvote and half apologised, and we all moved on.
Oh, nice. Well, that ended up a lot better than it could for many others. So it's a good warning for anyone listening. If you're new on the platform and you're trying to figure out where to do, and you're getting all these different memos saying, send 1.00 Steam or SBD here for massive following, massive upvotes. I would be weary of those because nothing good comes too easy. And if it works this hard to get multiple people to upvote, sending a nickel of a penny, a fraction of a penny, isn't really going to make that difference. And so your next
Exactly,
tip,
nothing's free, and if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
absolutely. And your next tip, number 3, is complaining about how low your earnings are. And I love this image you have here of self-interest, weighing it down, and honor, virtue, justice, fairness, equality, and integrity being way up there and not holding the same kind of weight.
That's right. One of the best people to look at for this is Stacken, Stakin. He's a big hustler out there. He's real go getter. He just pushes and pushes, telling people stop bitching about your situation, get out there and work for it. Just because someone's getting $100 and $200 posts, they've worked for it. They haven't got it for free. They've put in the time and the effort. They've put some money in themselves. They've worked for this money. If you're getting a 5-cent post and 10-cent post, well, do some more work and you'll get it there eventually.
Absolutely. And I love that you mentioned Stacken because he's one of those entrepreneurs that's not only successful on Steemit, but he's successful on several other social media platforms. And he preaches the same thing regardless of what platform he's on. It's hard work, it's investment, it's time spent researching and following through with other people have done that's successful. And so I love this image. You capped it well. And if you're new on the platform, like I mentioned before, and I'll keep saying it, keep at it. Hard work takes work. But if every day you put a little bit of effort and you learn a little bit more and more, you eventually will get there, which I think leads us to tip number 4. Only ever upvote your own content, which is actually a huge debate out there.
That's right, and that's not really aimed towards minnows. That's aimed towards bigger people because minnows upvoting their own stuff. Who cares? People that just vote their own own posts and comments, they're just turds. It's a social site. You're meant to be sharing love around, not just your own content.
Absolutely. And you you make an excellent point there that if you're a minnow and you're upvoting, give yourself that penny. You've worked hard for it. You earn it. It was given to you for a reason. But make sure that you invest it in other places as well, because we'll get into in our other sessions curating and how you can make money off of that. But you want to make sure that you're giving out to others and commenting and all of that, so they'll bring it back for you as well. And there's a huge debate out there if whales and dolphins should be upvoting their own content with it. Some say they should, some say they shouldn't. But at the end of the day, once you are a dolphin and a whale and you've worked that hard for it, you just want to make sure that what you're putting out to the platform is curating as much to help out others, just like those dolphins and whales helped you, and you're not just looking out for your own self-interest, which is what you're preaching from the very beginning.
They can still look like assholes, and there's certain people that I don't like because they will upvote their own content, put a comment on your own post, upvote that, and then not vote your post, and they keep moving further and further ahead. They could put a 1% vote on and not look like a twat.
Exactly. And as a new minnow starting out, if you upvote your own content and upvote nobody else, put a whole bunch of comments and just upvote yourself, you will not grow on this platform at all. Like, it will take you tons more time, and dolphins and whales and do it, and they really aren't generating new revenue coming in. It's really a slow process. So they're not helping themselves. They're not helping the platform. It's really, you're at a stuck. And as Goyan said, it really makes you an a-hole. So don't be an a-hole and invest in others more than you invest in yourself, and you'll reap the rewards of that.
That's right, definitely.
Excellent post. Thank you so much for sharing that. So far you've learned how to be a good Steamian, how not to be an a-hole, and last but not least of his series is how to organically boost your post and rewards. And again, huge fan of this image. Where do you find these images? These are so cool.
Hang on a sec, just let me pull the post up.
Yeah, it says organic growth, good for food, better for business. I'll actually send it to you in the chat that we're talking about so you can follow along with me. But it has...
Okay. Okay, so that's... I Google image everything. And as you called me out on the first post, I normally put sources. I was kind of slack in these last two, and I apologise. Generally, I do. Sometimes I don't, and that's just bad form on my behalf.
And that's okay. There's plenty of people on this platform that will make these mistakes, but the good intention is back there, and he knows how to do it on there as well. So if you're a new minnow out there, form good habits and stick to it, so that way down the road you won't make bad mistakes like this one. But he has a great reputation on there. People know he's not actively trying to steal content and steal pictures for his own benefit. He's utilizing this to kind of encapsulate his entire idea and better inform, what's the word I'm looking for? Share his ideas with this picture. So we'll let it slide this time.
Well, it's also, as you mentioned, it's the intention. Like, sometimes I screw up and don't put the sources there, but it's the intention is generally there, which with most people, they need to have the intention. If it's always seen that they never reference back or they never do the right thing, they'll always get a bad reputation for it. But if generally the reputation's there and generally the good intention's there, people will look over those mix-ups and people won't care. People generally don't care, but some people take it too far. Some people will go and downvote for those dodgy reasons for their own interest. But just as I mentioned in being responsible and being an arsehole, have the good intention and you'll go a long way.
Absolutely. If you just post a picture or post a YouTube video with no source, with no explanation, with no story, with no nothing, then that's a quick way to not be a good citizen and to be an a-hole on the platform, which are two things we are highly approaching. So it's okay if you make mistakes and not put your proper source, but as long as you intend for it to add value and you have other things on there to support it, that's a-okay. And this last but not least, how to organically boost your post rewards is how can I add value as a newbie? So what is one of the first few things that come to mind when you were writing this?
So this is all about, it sort of stems from the upvote bots, how to get people away from those and actually organically build. So organically is not having to pay for it. It just grows by itself. So this is all about how you can get your votes from being a 1 cent post up to $1 post or a $2 post or a $100 post. And it's as it comes down, it's all about being social. You need to get out there and be seen. Join the chat rooms. Get out there and get people to follow you. They're not going to come to you, as I said. You have to go to them and almost hit them over the head with a hammer and say, "Come look at my stuff," without putting a post there saying, "Come look at my stuff."
Exactly. And, I love on here that you mentioned the MinnowSupport group because that's where we met. And I'm from the United States in South Florida, and you are all the way from Australia. We would have never probably met had it not been for the MinnowSupport group of us chatting and getting to know one another and appreciate each other's content from there. Maybe we would have stumbled upon it eventually, but we never would have communicated and become as good friends as now that we are had it not been for them. So there's greater value add by you branching out outside of Steemit to join these communities, become involved, get to know people, and they'll eventually support one another from it. Even if you post things that I don't always agree with or disagree with, at least I know who you are on there and I support the various things that you do because I know who you are as a person. And that never would have happened had I just been reading your blog.
Exactly. Team Australia has like 400 people, but we've got 20 that chat that talk in Discord. I've put a post up on the weekend trying to get more of those people over to Discord because the people that are here are benefiting from being in that team. If we can get more people over there, not just Australia, but the US, UK, all those other countries, then they're going to benefit from it. Being in the team and not being part of the team is two different things.
Absolutely. And like you said, like we're all in there and we support each other, we read each other's content and we upvote each other accordingly on there. And we don't use necessarily bots to do that. We are humans upvoting other humans and it's growing organically like you mentioned. So it's connecting with people on there so it grows organically and using the bots responsibly to upvote good quality content on there as well, but not letting that be the sole thing that you use because if it grows organically, it will grow significantly higher with people watching it because they're consistent. And that's what you need, a consistent reading and following. And your next thing
That's right. You may not always have the dollar to go and pay for that bot.
Absolutely.
But if you've got people in your pocket to give you those votes, it doesn't cost you a cent.
And the next thing we mentioned or the next tip that you give is don't forget to leave your comments, which is something we've talked about a little bit before. But I love what you wrote in here. You said, if you read an article on the Bitcoin price predictions for December 2017, maybe comment on why you agree or disagree with their prediction or ask how they came up with that prediction, which would be an excellent comment on there because it's engaging, you're curious, you're learning, and the person who wrote it did a lot of research and maybe they got their point across, but they wanted to discuss it further, and that would allow you to maybe make a new friend from that discussion.
That's right. If you don't understand why, or maybe you're a better person, maybe you're a better predictor than them, say so. And they might teach you through, or they might say why you're wrong, and more than likely they're going to go back and read your content and comment on your stuff, and you're going to earn money that way. You probably, as a newbie or a minnow, you probably earn more money on decent content, on comments, rather than your posts.
Absolutely. And like you said, don't stress over leaving comments. There's plenty of people on the platform who has left a hilarious GIF that resonates with what they were talking about that kind of, it's kind of like that drum thing at the end when people make jokes and you're like, that was excellent, knee slapper type of joke. So sometimes just being creative in what you say and pictures you post may get you a $10 upvote or a $20 upvote. You never know. There's plenty of people who I've heard success stories where they left a really funny comment and the whale or dolphin thought it was hilarious and rewarded them accordingly. So sometimes it's not just about the words, but the pictures as well.
Exactly, and being witty. Chew Girl did a post ages back, and I put a smart-ass comment on there. And I got more votes than she did on an original post.
Exactly. Look at that. So not only will the author support you, but you never know who else may be reading and find it hilarious and support you as well. So commenting goes a long way for it. And last but not least, we talked a little bit about it, but let's dig a little bit deeper. What about bots? Yes, they exist. Yes, some are profitable, but they are a hit and miss and won't build your organic rewards at all.
Yeah, and with the Steamboat tracker that just came in, people can see that some of these bots just really aren't profitable, and people are losing money on them. So some of the bots are going downhill now because they've been found out to be a fraud. So why bother wasting your money when you can just organically grow your posts or power it up and give yourself a decent upvote?
Absolutely. And as you finish up in the immortal worlds of Superman, pump up the likes. I don't know if I did that right.
Yeah, Superman, for those that don't know, is a YouTuber. He's on Steam it now as well.
Oh, cool.
And he does a lot of live video streams on different ICOs and cryptos, and he's always selling pump up the likes.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for talking me through these posts. I really appreciate you writing them and taking the time to review them. Any final thoughts that you would like to leave for any minnow listening and wanting to learn who's new on the platform?
The biggest thing I always say is be social. Just get out there and be seen. No one's going to come find you. You got to find them.
And where can people find you on Steemit? Any final things that you would like to share or promote?
So Team Australia is one of the big things I'm involved in. I'm the new Prime Minister, as they say, of Team Australia. We're doing a big charity drive to get some stuff for the Children's Hospital here in Brisbane. People are sending donations in, people are running competitions to get some steam, and we are in the negotiations of getting some products at the moment. We're getting colouring books and pencils to donate to the Children's Hospital. If you'd like to be part of it, come say hello. Come chat to me if you think you got some ways of contributing or some ideas. Come have a chat. There's no dumb ideas. I'm happy to talk to everyone.
Absolutely. And where can people find you on Steemit?
So at goba.handcrafts.
Yes. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys for listening. Get involved. Get chatting with people. I'm not from Australia, but they're nice enough to allow me into their group. And so they support everyone who engages with them, even if you're not from their neck of the woods down under. So thanks so much, Gael.
We don't just have Australians. We got Canadians. They invade our room all the time. The Brits, the Americans. We don't care who you are, as long as you chat. Africans, Indians, we don't care. As long as you chat, we're happy to chat to you and show you support.
Absolutely. So cheers, as they would say, huh? Eh?
Indeed. Cheers.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.